I was saying, okay, my shit was on mute. But
Praise
yeah,
y'all. Praise y'all on the Sabbath day because we already live. But yeah,
hallelujah.
praise y'all. We talking about wisdom is a defense and money is a defense on the Sabbath day. And the reason that I brought up this subject is because there's many different things that you can cover when talking about the difference between wisdom being a defense and money being a defense. But one thing I do want to stress is when I say the caveman or Elijah's caveman, and I want to read verse 4 in 1 Kings chapter 18. It says, "For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yah, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water." So the fight against the Jezebel and the Jezebel spirit, Elijah thought to himself that he was the only one, not knowing that there's many different men in the cave that are ready to fight against this woman worship in which Jezebel was promoting. The first ever feminism or the worship of women. I can't say the first ever worship of a woman, but this woman that she worshiped had sodomites in the land. She was sacrificing babies like abortion. But let's get back to wisdom being a defense and money being a defense by going to the book of Ecclesiastes.
Why you going to that book? When I
Uh-huh.
think of when I just think of the whole idea of money and wisdom being a defense, it's like it's just so something you could meditate on all day. Because at the foundation of defense is you gonna have wisdom and you gonna have your finances. And those who don't have wisdom, they do what? They pay for people who got the expertise of wisdom to get
Uh-huh.
them out of situations. You know what
Most
I'm
definitely.
saying? So when it come down to the come down, even those who don't have the wisdom, they know they can at least pay for people to use their wisdom to at least defend them. So you got people who pay different war generals, or you got presidents that pay advisors and stuff, and that's what it come down to, you know.
Most definitely. And just to piggyback on what you were saying, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, it talks about wisdom and how to fight. They had one example in Sun Tzu where when you fight them from the front and then claim or fake or deceive your enemy by retreating, which has your enemy follow you out of their house. And then you have people waiting in ambush in the back. But there's different types when using wisdom. There's many different ways of using it. But I want to read Ecclesiastes for wisdom being a defense. In Ecclesiastes 7 and 12, it says, "For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it." And that is 1,000% true. If you go to Deuteronomy 30, I want to elaborate on when it says that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. By going to Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'm going to go to verse 19. And it says, "I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live." So this is the Almighty's letting us know that the excellency of wisdom is that you preserve your soul, you preserve your life, you lengthen your days by choosing life, by choosing wisdom. And as we talked about, wisdom is the fear of Yahweh, the fear of going against the commandments. It's just that. But I also want to emphasize when it says the excellency of knowledge. And let me go back.
When you read that last verse,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I was thinking about is you choosing life with that wisdom is when the children of Israel, the Most High say, you put this sacrifice of this blood of the lamb on your post. So when he send that spirit throughout Egypt, it's gonna claim that firstborn. But those who feared the Most High, which, like you said, wisdom is fearing the Most High. Those who follow His instructions, they had that defense. They
Yeah.
had that defense on their doors. The only reason they had that defense on their doors is because of wisdom. They feared the Most High. So that
Yeah.
wisdom and that whole scenario protected them. And it's a lot of scenarios in the scriptures where our people use wisdom because we ain't have a lot of money. So we had to use that fear of the Most High and use that wisdom. And because they did that, they chose life. Their lives were saved. Their children were saved just due to fearing the Most High and following those instructions. And that's what I think about when you bring that scripture out right there.
And I'm glad you said that their lives were saved, but also their children's lives were saved. And I'm glad you said it because it just brought a whole bunch to mind, because there's a lot of knowledge that our boys need to know growing up in this society. And because they don't have wisdom, they don't understand what's going on. And who gives them the wisdom? The father will tell them about the rights they have here in this land, how they have no rights when the child is born, how not to make a covenant or go down and file a state license, what type of women to look for, what type of morals to look for in a woman, how to conduct yourself with a woman. A woman cannot teach a man how to conduct himself with a woman, because the first thing a man has to do when conducting himself as a woman is be in his manhood and be a man, meaning not to control his emotions, to control his actions. But I also want to go to one thing, talking about what we need to teach these young men. And that's in Proverbs 22 and 26. And if we go to Proverbs 22, my bad. And then we go to verse 26. It says, be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts. If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee? And what is surety or striking hands? It's the same as these contracts, as a child support contract. Signing a contract and putting yourself in a debt. And nowadays we do that through contracts, a marriage contract. We need to let our young men and women know about not doing these certain things. But that's the defense of wisdom. See, wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But if you don't understand with wisdom not to be surety for debts, then you will not have money. Therefore, you need wisdom, or you will never be able to hold on to the money, because you'll be surety for debts. And I also want to go to Proverbs 20 and 16, dealing with this.
Now that verse right there is just wisdom to keep you out of debts. And by you being in debt all the time, it's taking your what? It's taking your money away. And that's one reason they keep us vulnerable and defenseless, is by keeping Americans in a whole lot of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Keep you in a whole lot of debt. They run everything off the debt. They pay you very little and charge you a lot. Tickets, all this other stuff is designed to keep you in debt. And those that got money, they got that freedom. They can pay for this, they can pay for that. You know what I'm saying? They less stress. They can defend themselves. But that's one reason they keep you vulnerable, is by keeping you in debt, doing all these little things, charging all these interests, charging all these taxes, you know. So you got the middle class end up being worse off because the lower class got a lot of benefits, and the middle class really gets screwed, and they trying to keep majority of people in debt.
And that's crazy because when you think about it, and I like this proverb right here, Proverbs 20:16. It says, take his garment that is surety for a stranger, and take a pledge of him for a strange woman. When it says surety for strangers, when you are going to surety with your brothers and sisters, when dealing with contracts in regards to doing a business or working together, that's a totally different arena. You guys have mutual plan fit. You guys make this contract together, but the majority of the time, when you strike a contract with a stranger, like the state is a stranger. The state is who put us in captivity. But when you strike hands with people who don't have your best interests, namely all the nations that are against us round about, then that's when you lose. Striking surety with a stranger. And I want to go to the book of Daniel because this is what we really want the young man to be like. In the book of Daniel, chapter 1. And in Daniel 1, and I'm going to start at verse 3. And the king spake to Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom there is no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them daily provisions of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years. And at the end thereof, he might stand before the king. Right here, we want our kids to be skillful in wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science. Because as we talk about wisdom being a defense and money being a defense, you have to have the wisdom in order to maintain the money. You have to be, so we want these to be skillful in wisdom and cunning in knowledge. Knowledge is understanding, because wisdom is the fear of the Almighty. But knowledge is, you can dive into all different types of sciences, all different types of philosophies, math, and law. Knowledge is, there's many different knowledges. And we want our generation to know them so they won't fall into various pitfalls. And one thing about wisdom is it tells you who to deal with. It tells our young man who to deal with. And I'm going to go to Proverbs 21 to elaborate on that.
That's a big deal. Knowing who to keep yourself away from, who to keep yourself around, you know, keeps you away from harm. Even like you said, what type of women to deal with, and what type of people to keep yourself in the company of. Because keeping the company of fools or just being around somebody that don't have your best interests, even when you talk about the striking of deals, that that can just cause you harm, cause you some type of financial harm, emotional harm, some type of stress. So having that type of knowledge, having that wisdom, fear of the Most High, to who to abstain from, who to keep around you, that in itself, you know, just knowing that protects you. And I'm sure a lot of us been in situations where our parents seen stuff we ain't see, other people seen stuff we ain't see. Oh man, you don't want to be around them. Oh man, they bad news or they trouble. You know what I'm saying? Keep your distance. You know what I'm saying? We ain't listen, and we end up in some kind of financial hardship being around just about the people company we keep, or some type of emotional stress, or that person don't stole something from us. You know?
Most definitely. And that's why I want to go here first, because what you just said just reminded me of this. And it was Ecclesiastes 7:9, where it says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. Do not be quick to be angry, for anger rests in the bosom of fools." And you were just talking about the people who company you keep around. You know, in fact, the scripture I just
Yep. So you was talking
my
about
bad,
watching the company you keep.
my bad, man.
You was talking about watching the company you keep, and you was about to go to a scripture.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna go to the scripture right here in Ecclesiastes. Where is this? Nah, this right here is Proverbs, and it was Proverbs 21:19. It said, "Better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman." And we were just talking about how anger rests in the bosom of fools. But what happened was, what the latest news is now is that a certain celebrity came up and slapped another one. First, he was laughing, but he was dwelling with an angry and contentious woman. So when she gave him the head nod, he became angry. It's the company that he kept. Why would you dwell with a contentious and angry woman to have you commit a felony on camera? And this is not a good thing for our people to overreact and to get and to be quick to get upset, like we just read. And if we go to Proverbs 14,
Speaking on that real quick,
mm-hmm.
and him acting on that, which wasn't wise. The academy it's gonna cost him money. It's gonna cost him money. That whole action, all that, everything, all that's gonna cost him money, and it make him look bad. It caused harm to his reputation. Everything he don't build. I mean, he don't develop years and years into his whole brand and who he is, and he pretty much diminished it down to a single ignorant moment.
Yeah, and as I said, it's him soon to be angry, him not seeing himself as being foolish, or him not having wisdom. And wisdom is a defense to put yourself in really, really bad situations like he's in right now. And in Proverbs 14 and 17, it says, "He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated." So as we see right here, he that is soon angry dealeth foolishly. And we see a lot of men getting killed because someone disrespected them. They said something, and now they have to commit murder or felonies because of their honor. And now once somebody's in jail or somebody's dead because they dealt foolishly in their emotions, which is not something that is taught by women. The emotional creature. It is the father that teaches these young men not to be so emotional and kill each other and to check yourself and your emotions. But as long as we have these young men being taught by women, this is going to continue to happen. And this foolishness was even frowned upon by a lot of women who applauded him for defending her and jumping into his emotions and doing something rash for millions to see. But if we go to Proverbs 25 and verse 28, it says, "He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls." And he is a city broken down without walls. If his wife can give him the okay and he break out and do something stupid, That's just the same example of someone at your job saying, all I have to do is say something about their mother, the grandmother, or just call them the N-word, and they're going to break off and do something stupid, have no rule over their spirit, and destroy their career, destroy what job they have, destroy their livelihood, get a felony because he had no rule over his spirit. And this is what we have when we dealing with people. They can let any fool get them upset. Any fool out here. Because a fool thinks everyone else thinks like him. And if I do say this, they're going to get angry. They're going to try to hit me. They're going to try to do this. They're going to act like a fool. But we're not to deal with people like that. That's why I want to go to Proverbs 15 and 17. Because when we talk about wisdom being a defense and money being a defense, let's read this. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. So it's better even if you don't have that much money. But there's wisdom in the house. So since there's wisdom in this house, there's peace in the house. People are not fighting. They're loving. They're cooperating. They're doing all these positive things that come with wisdom. Well, it's better be in that house and y'all just eating herbs than in a house that has money, but there's hatred all through it. Because that's not a safe environment. That's an environment of chaos. And anything can happen, literally. When you have a bunch of fools who could soon be angry off the slight thing, off a joke. People can commit felonies. And that's why when it says better is a dinner of herbs, who do you have at your table? That's why I want to go to the book of Proverbs 22. In Proverbs 22 and 24, it says, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man, thou shalt not go. Don't make no friendship with somebody that's soon to be angry, acting like a fool, can't control their emotions. And the Almighty even said, it's better to be in the wilderness than with an angry and contentious woman. But people are okay with other people acting a fool. But we're not to make a friendship with an angry man. We're not to deal with that type of behavior because it's a dangerous type of behavior. It's an erratic type of behavior. You don't even know if this person is going to last the next day. They may deal with the wrong person. They may be provoked by the wrong person. Because a fool can easily be provoked. But and that's what I'm saying. But instead of dealing with somebody that's a fool, let me show you what type of person to deal with. Not somebody that's soon angry. But if you go to the book of Proverbs 15 and you go to verse 18, it says, a wrathful man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appease strife. So you need to find someone that's slow to anger. If you were to say something, even jokingly, on their to their make them a butt of a joke, they're slow to anger. They won't quickly come up and try to do harm or verbally attack you or become your enemy. They will move wisely. They won't commit a felony on camera for the world to see, as we've seen recently with Will. But he that is slow to anger calms wrath. These are people that know how to de-escalate situations. And that's what wisdom brings. Wisdom brings people that can de-escalate situations, especially when you're dealing with your household, when you're dealing with your friends, when you're dealing with your family. You want to have unity. How good it is for the brothers to dwell together in peace. So in order to have peace, you have to have wisdom. But you try to tell some of our people this, and that's why I want to go to Proverbs 9 and 8. Because when you tell some of our people that what I just told you, this is what's going to happen. It said, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. So that's another way you can find out who to deal with. Because it doesn't matter how you try to reprove a scorner. Of course, like the Proverbs, what is that? Proverbs 15. What does it say? A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So there's a way to talk to anyone, and you don't know if they're a scorner or not. But when you talk to them with a soft answer, and you try to tell them, listen, that's wrong. You are supposed to control your emotions. The father is supposed to be the head of the household, according to the Almighty, not according to evil. You tell these different truths of the Almighty, and that scorner, they'll hate you for that. Well, what can you do but depart from that foolishness? But I wanted to, since we're talking about wisdom being a defense and money being a defense, you have something to say?
You was just talking about departing from that foolishness. That's understanding, departing from evil. And that goes back to a lot of what we were saying, knowing who to be around and who not to be around, departing from those bad situations, departing from those people who are not gonna do anything but cause you harm, saves you. It extends your life. Because although people die from heart problems and heart disease, at the main thing of it when it comes to men in general is stress. It's stress because we less emotional, we more or less likely to express ourselves and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that turns into chemicals, and a lot of that we hold in, and it breaks down our body. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about, you know what I'm saying, that wear on your bones, you know? So just keeping yourself free. And at the end of the day, a lot people, those who know, want peace. They want peace. And just like you say, being able to keep you calm, being able to diffuse these situations, being able to use that wisdom is going to defend you from those harmful situations.
Yeah, most definitely. And what does the Almighty say about money? In fact, I want to go to the book of Job. I'm gonna go to the book of Job 31 because wisdom is a defense, and it shows you who to deal with, how to keep your money, not not to strike pledges and things of that nature, like debts, signing contracts. But I want to read what Job said about money. And in Job chapter 31, and I'm gonna start at verse 24, he said, if I have made gold my hope, or I have said to find gold, thou art my confidence. If I rejoice because my wealth was great, and because my hand got much. If I beheld the sun when it shine, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart have been secretly enticed, or my mouth have kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge. For I should have denied the God that is above. And what is he saying? He's saying right here, if I made gold my hope, I deny God. If I said to find gold, thou art my confidence, then I deny the wisdom that comes, because the wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But the excellency of wisdom is that it preserves your soul. It preserves your life. But right here, if I rejoice because my wealth was great, but I didn't rejoice that I knew you, Yahweh, that I knew your righteousness, and that because I've gotten much. And then verse 27, and my heart has secretly been enticed, or my mouth has kissed my own hand. I'm the one that did this. Me. This is an iniquity because I denied God, who act to the Almighty is the one who gave it to me. Elohim is the one who gave me this money. And you have to know what to do with the money. That's why you need the wisdom. But I want to go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Because money answereth all things, as Ecclesiastes says. But I want to go to Ecclesiastes 10 to elaborate on that. In Ecclesiastes 10, at verse 19, it says, a feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. Yes, and money can give an answer to all things. But does it say does it always give a right answer? Let's continue though. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. You don't talk down on the king. You don't talk down on somebody that had the power to hurt you with the money, because their money will answer in a different way. Their money will answer in a way that may take your life, because the wings will tell the matter. So you don't, definitely in the days of the kings, you do not talk down on those in that type of power, because their money may answer in a different way in regards to what happens to you. But this is how the proverb instructs us to use our money. This is one way. This is Proverbs 22. In Proverbs 22, I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, he that have a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth his bread to the poor. And that's one way of using our money, is to give to the poor, give to those less fortunate, the homeless. Because money, when the Almighty said, do I want riches upon 1,000? Do I need all these bulls? And I'm going to go there. In fact, I'm going to go there, because we're supposed to give to the poor, but the Almighty didn't say just give me bulls, and that's how you obtain my favor. And I'm going to go to the book of Micah, chapter 6. Because the Almighty told you to give to the poor, but he didn't. How can I say? He did not. It was not a law. And how can I say this, brother? Help me out here. Oh, yeah. Let me just read it. Wherewith shall I come before Yahweh and bow myself to the Most High? Shall I come with him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old? Will Yahweh be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of the body for the sin of my soul? So they talking about, can I just throw money at the Almighty? We know in those days we were bartering too. So cattle and different things were a certain type of amount of money. They say, can I just throw money at the Almighty and he would be satisfied? And he showeth thee, O man, what is good, and what does Yahweh require of thee, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy Elohim. So the Almighty, so wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of wisdom is that it preserves your life, because you can't throw money at the Almighty if you're being evil. You can give him a sacrifice, but that's not what he required. He required of you to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with thy Elohim, to have wisdom. Wisdom is the requirement, not the money you can throw at the Almighty, but the wisdom you display, the fear of Yahweh. So wisdom is a defense and money is a defense, but that's one thing that needs to be understood about money is, yes, you're supposed to give to the poor to please the Almighty, but don't try to give him, the Almighty, that bread or those calves, because that's not what he requires of you. And I'm gonna go to Proverbs 5. And I'm gonna start at verse 3. And I want to read about what's going on here. Because it says, for the lips of the strange woman drop as honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. So we back to women or people not to deal with. The strange woman does not have wisdom. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Least thou ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou cannot know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh at the door of her house. Lest thou give thy honors to others, and thy years to the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. And thou mourn at last when thy flesh and thy body are half consumed. Now, what I want to pay attention to right here is, if you, in verse 10, lest strangers be filled with your wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. That is happening today. Today, people are getting debts put on them that are taking money from out their house and putting it in the house of a stranger, someone you don't know, a strange woman. But with wisdom, we can avoid it. See, our generation, we didn't have too many men that taught us about these pitfalls that happens here in this captivity, where men livelihoods are being taken. And that strange woman will use the system, and your labors will be in the house of a stranger, or that strange woman. That's why I say the house of a stranger, because that strange woman is going to take your wealth, going to go down to the man, go down to the system, go down to the courthouse, and take your wealth away from you. So that's why Proverbs 5 is telling you with wisdom to stay away from this woman. But because a lot of strange women are these independent women raising our children, our men don't know what to look for in a woman. So we're falling into these pitfalls where these strange women, where the least strangers, strange women, be filled with thy wealth. They take the man's wealth. They get a divorce, take the man's wealth. And our labors is in the house of a strange woman, a stranger. And I wanted to go to several more scriptures before I end this one off. I know the brother Benjamin has some things to say. I'm hoping can come through with him in a little bit, unless you want to knock him out now.
I'm kind of just adding in off what you say, because it's everything. The book of the scriptures, everything just kind of goes together and just connects. Like even this topic we on, it directly connects with the wisdom and how to fear and the fear of Yah. And like all of this is interconnected and just showing how this book just gives you life, gives you good life. You know what I'm saying? It's not anything to limit you, but it's to enhance. And people got the wrong perspective on the scriptures. It's all about enhancing your life and bringing you peace and prosperity. People look at it like, oh, well, you can't eat this or you can't do that. Like it's a limitation. Not knowing even those in itself, that wisdom protects your health.
Yes,
That
sir.
that that health protects your life and gives you long life. And the same people looking at you and turning their nose up, got a stomach full of worms. You know what I'm saying? All kind of health problems. I know plenty of people. They like to take some kind of health advice from somebody taking a fistful of medications. You know,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
but no, I'm just listening and just adding in and just being reminded of every time you bring out a point, different stories in the scriptures where people use that wisdom or use that money to just keep them good, protect them. And like my one of my thoughts is, okay, how do I direct this to today? How do I connect this to today? Even when it comes to you just got done talking about how the system is really dividing the man and the women and the child. When we got to come together, and it's using empowering the women to take that money from that man in many different modes, not just child support, not just divorce, but all multiple different ways.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
Yes, sir.
so and even in that situation, like you was got done saying, us having the knowledge and the wisdom on men how to protect themselves, even women how to protect themselves, because child
Mm-hmm.
support is getting money from women too,
Yes, yes.
and
Many,
they, and
many
they and they profiting off of it. They'll
taking children
they'll
from the women. Mm-hmm.
they'll say, oh well, you can't afford to take care of your kids. We go take your kids, and then
Mm-hmm.
what they do? They turn around and pay someone else to take care of your kids.
Yep. Yep.
And what
And then
kind of
take
sense
child
that make?
support from you. Pay someone else, take child support from you,
What
and make
kind what
money.
kind what kind of sense that make? Well, you can't afford to take care of your kids, so we go pay someone else to raise your kids, which is all separation. But anyway, back to what you were saying, and a lot of even the organization Father Fighting for Fatherhood,
Yes, sir.
got different tips and wisdom that people just don't know that can protect your family, protect you and keep you together.
Mm-hmm.
Just different things about just not signing contracts,
Yeah.
not going into that information. So it's the amount of information is so vast in terms of just how that wisdom protects you, and there's so many numerous of stories in the scriptures when you we just got done talking about the children of Israel when they was in Egypt, how that wisdom protected them. You know, the Most High told them, even when we told them to walk around the city 7 times. They ain't had no money to take over that city,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But we blew them trumpets. We did what the Almighty said, and we got results. You know?
or when it was 300 of us going against thousands, and we use the trumpets, the tambourines, the drum. Well, I don't know if it said drums, but we use all them sounds on all different sides. Like you said, you was talking about art of war. Got on the
Mm-hmm.
right, got on the
Exactly.
left, got on the front, and just that wisdom of listening to the Most High had them shook. So no, I'm just adding along with I pretty much said in the beginning, how just money and wisdom, that's the foundation of everything when it comes to a defense, a legal defense, your life defense against ailments, you know,
Yep. And
all that.
defense,
Just listening to the Most High, you know.
most definitely. And defense against the strange woman, defense against the angry man, and just angry people in general. So it's defense in many different ways. And even King Solomon right here, um, in the book of First Kings, chapter 3 and 11. And Elohim said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and had not asked for thyself long life, neither have asked for riches or money for thyself, nor have asked the life of thy enemies, but thou hast asked for thyself for understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there is none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any rise unlike unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways, keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. And right here, it's just telling you, you got to have the wisdom. If you have the wisdom, you're going to have the money. Wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But the excellency of wisdom is that it preserves your life. Now, now a wise poor man did deliver a city, and he was forgotten. So all can get wisdom, the rich and the poor. It makes the wise, it makes the simple wise, the laws and commandments of the Almighty. But right here, it's letting it be known, because he asked for wisdom, the Almighty gave him riches because he knew how to deal with them. He knew what to do with his riches. As long as he has the wisdom, then he can be in control of many different things. As we talked about before, about the scripture in Deuteronomy, well, we had to have wise men be over 50s and over hundreds, and set as judges that Moses did, because they had wisdom. They were given, much becomes much responsibility. Yeah. But what was that saying again? But I wanted to go to Proverbs 31:10, because I don't want to leave the women out. In Proverbs 31, it says, who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies. So right here, why is her price far above rubies? Because the wisdom that she had raised her monetary value as a woman. It's the wisdom that made her more valuable. See, wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But the excellency of wisdom is it preserves your life. And that wise woman will preserve that man's life. We're not stress that man, argue with him, be a contentious and angry woman. But she is very valuable to that man in so many different ways. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he have no need of spoil, no need of money. He don't even have need of money, because that virtuous woman was just so valuable. She will do him good and not evil all of his days. And she goes into it. She does many different things. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders. Strength and honor are her clothing. She will rejoice in time to come.
Can you elaborate on this valuable woman doing him good and not evil all of her days? Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, when we talk about the virtuous woman doing him good and not evil all the days of her life, we're talking about a woman with wisdom. So as we talked about earlier, that woman with wisdom is not a strange woman that's going to take him for broke. That believes that money is the principal thing, and that you can replace a man with money. As long as you leave that man, you can take his money, and that's all you really need. This woman knows the value of a man because she has wisdom. This woman, she said her husband is known as in the gates when he sits with the elders. He may even sit with her father, because this woman allowed her father to choose her husband, to see that her husband was worthy. But that's not happening here. But when we talk about a virtuous woman that won't do her husband no harm, we talk about a woman who is considerate, a woman who knows that man is the head. So she won't argue him down. She know this woman who is the virtuous woman is someone who adds to the household. So when doing him good, he can come home to a diligent woman, because that virtuous woman is diligent. Around the house, things are done. The house is like a real castle, because when you have the virtuous woman, everything is already, the house is a real home. It's real comfortable. You don't have to. That's why the Proverbs say it's better to dwell in the wilderness than with an angry and contentious woman, because an angry and contentious woman will holler at you and you want to leave the home. But this woman is striving to make you comfortable and want to stay in the home. It's the opposite. She's a virtuous woman. He says she opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. So that's the opposite of an angry and contentious woman, when you want to dwell in the corner of a housetop and don't even want to deal with her. So she will do you good, because this woman seems to even know how to control her emotions, or at least she understands how to control her emotions, because she knows who is the head and who has the final say so. But she has a law of kindness in her lips, and she looked well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Like I said before, a lazy woman make the whole house fall, whole house drop through. But this woman is the opposite. She makes you want to come home. She actually lengthens your days, as we already know. When we talk about stress killing, a contentious woman can lower a man's life expectancy with stress, strife, contention. And her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also and praises her. So she's so diligent. She's getting so much stuff done that her husband has to give credit where credit's due, and call her blessed and praise her, because she's not lazy, because she's doing things, because they're one. And when a man becomes one with his wife, some people try to say it's kind of like when two come together, like, the Zords and whatever television program, where they will come together as one and be stronger. But when you come with this woman and be on her team, it's like 2016. What? Wait, Kyrie Irving and LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Not to try to put them, but you have a good team. You have a winning team when you are with this woman, and you know it. But I don't know if I elaborated enough. Let me see. Said, many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that fears Yah, she shall be praised. A woman with wisdom shall be praised. Because wisdom is a defense and money is a descent. But the excellency of wisdom is that it preserves your life. And the excellency of a wise woman, of a virtuous woman, is that she preserves your life. Like you were just saying. She'll make sure you eat right. Your life, she will add days to your life. She'll make sure you eat right. She will not stress you. It will be many different things. So give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gate. And I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 6. But did I answer that all right? And right here.
Yeah, that was in detail. That was good. One thing you stuck out, you said she gonna make you want to come home.
Exactly.
And a lot of unfortunately, a lot of women, they don't know how to be a wife because they didn't see it coming up. So it's like, you know, they kind of do what they feel or what their girlfriends say, but their girlfriend ain't even in a good relationship. They ain't got nobody to really ask. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a man, like I said earlier, a man want peace. And if you coming home, man coming home, and you got nothing to offer but yelling and screaming, and you pissed off about this and upset about that, I ain't gonna make nobody want to come home today. You just got done going over the verse. You got going over the verse about the man went going to the rooftop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you
Yeah.
make your home, your environment one of peace, and you make it to where you doing the virtuous woman, you cooking good meals. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Your house is clean. You not being lazy. He ain't gonna wait to come home.
Yes.
Oh, man, she gonna rub my back. She rubbed my back last night. She made that meal I like. She hooked my feet up, and people don't understand. Like you taking care of him. Next thing you know, he got less stress. He feel a whole lot better. And now when it's time to do something for you, anything you ask, if you taking care of that man, anything you ask, he go work hard to make sure you got whatever you want because you making him feel good, you making him feel right, you bringing him peace. He'll break his neck to get what you want. No different than your children. When your children doing everything they're supposed to be doing, no matter what they ask for, you gonna make sure you get them what they need or what they want because they doing what they supposed to do. And it's too easy if we just do what we everybody's supposed to do. Husband do his role, wife do her role. It's like, but we make things difficult drinking from Babylon cup, thinking that drama is the way, you know,
Most
like
definitely.
like the Most High just don't know what he's talking about, and it's like that's the life, you know.
Most definitely. And that's why we talk about wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's why I want to go to verse Proverbs 6 and verse 23, where it says the commandment is a lamp and the law is a light. And reproof of instructions are the way of life. That's why I said wisdom preserveth your soul. And I'm gonna keep going. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. And watch flattery on these women. Lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, as it said, as we just read. But lust not after her beauty in thy heart. Let her not take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. So wisdom is a defense so that you do not get with this strange woman, with this whorish woman, and take all your money and bring you to a piece of bread. Because that's what a whorish woman will do. This is not a virtuous woman. This is not a woman that adds to, that you come together and y'all build something. But this is a woman that is taking, tearing it down with her evil ways. Just want to take your money, dealing with a whore. And that's what happens. These whores are just here to take your money, but not to build or be virtuous or have the law of kindness. So you get stuck with a woman that has no wisdom or no fear of the Almighty or don't know right from wrong. Because fear of the Almighty is to keep his commandments. And they don't know the commandments. They don't know right from wrong. And that's what we have when we're dealing with a lot of these evil and whorish women. And I wanted to go to Malachi, and this is going to be my second to last scripture. And I'm going to go to the book of Malachi. I'm going to go to chapter 4. And I'm going to go to verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yah. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And that's the end of the Old Testament, the end of the prophet, the end of the Old Testament, the book of Malachi, right before the book of Matthew in the New Testament. This is the end of the Old Testament, end of the book of truth. The scriptures are true. And it's letting you be known that Elijah is going to come before the day of destruction. It hasn't come yet, this day of destruction. But Elijah is supposed to come to do something that seems impossible. Elijah is going to do something that even all of these spiritual teachers that I'm dealing with, they're not on board with. And that's fighting to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers, because they're too scared to deal with the women in their congregation. They're too scared to reprove them the right way, too scared to let them know that the things that they're doing by going down to our captors and doing these covenants and doing all these different things to the children and the men of the Israelite community. So we have to come, because Elijah thought that he was the only prophet during Jezebel's time. And during this time of woman worship, we still have people like me willing to fight for the cause of bringing the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers. And I'm gonna go to my last scripture, and that's in the book of Jeremiah 9. And I'm gonna read verse 23. And it said, "Thus saith Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glory in this, that he understand and know of me, that I am Yah, which exercise loving kindness, judgments, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yah." So wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But don't glory in your wisdom. Don't glory in your money. But let him that glory in this, that he understand and know of me, I am Yah, but exercise loving kindness, judgments, and righteousness in the earth. Glory that you know the Almighty. Because then you're not being haughty. You're not being or making a mistake as Moses made and saying it's my wisdom. No. It's the Almighty. It's Yah that's done this for me. It's Yah that's given me this insight. It's Yah that's given me his laws and his wisdom. Give all praises to Yahweh. Give the glory to the Almighty. And is the brother here? Are you here, brother? Oh, wait. Okay. Here you go. All right, brother. If you have anything else to say before I close it out, it's on you.
No. Well, breaking down everything, circling back, when it comes down to a defense, no matter what the defense is, whether it's protecting our families, protecting our health, legal situations, when it come down, the Most High gave us the keys right here. He gave us the keys. And we got to work on getting our money up and getting our wisdom up.
Mm-hmm.
And those go hand in hand, because when you get your wisdom up, you're going to get your money up.
Mm-hmm.
And you use them in the correct way they need to be used to protect yourself. And even when you look at Kings, when he said to the man, he said, be strong. Be strong. So that was in general. Physically strong, mentally strong, financially strong. We got to work on all these things. When it come down, fearing the Most High, keeping his laws is a protection in itself. It's a protection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to do nothing but enhance us. So all these things, everything we talk about is applicable to enhancing our lives. You know, like the stuff we talking about, It's things you can enhance your life. We not, this scripture is not no feel good story. You know what I'm saying? People feel good, they forget about it the next day. This is stuff you can apply to your life today, and it's going to enhance you forever. These are keys. These are keys we talking about. Things that's going to enhance our lives and help us be better men, better families, better women, better, sons and daughters. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm glad you said that, because this is not fairyland. This is something that you can use here. We're not going to fairyland about what's going to happen. This is stuff that we can use right here, and this stuff that we're going to continue to bring to you. And just want to say peace and praise Yah on the Sabbath day. Praise Yah.
hallelujah.